Coach wrapped up the dual portion of the season on Sunday with a 45-3 victory against Gardner-Webb. That's 10-4 overall, 7-1 in the SoCon. I guess first off, if you could just look back to Sunday and how that went with, I think, 9 bonus point victories in a competitive match, also against a ranked opponent at 184.
Yeah, I thought Sunday went well. I think the biggest thing is we were hoping to go into that match and build some momentum going into the conference tournament here in 2 weeks. And we were able to do that. A lot of our guys scored a lot of bonus point victories. And then, we were looking for something at 84 to kind of show them we'd made gains since November, and I think we saw that. So I think that's a positive note taken into the conference tournament next week. And, I really like where our team's at right now. We're going to have a good training cycle the rest of this week, and then we'll start tapering our guys and make sure they're feeling good and refreshed before we get to the conference tournament.
Second straight year you end the regular season in the final poll with a top 25 ranking, and it was 20 last year, 24 this year. Just what that means for a program to, not only reach that once, but to do it in back-to-back years.
I think it shows the consistency of our program. When you look at it, being a mid-major and, being top 20 in the country last year at the end of the regular season, and then losing all the guys that we lost, and then, having the task to come back this year and find our way inside the top 25 with another ranked win, and then finishing the poll this year for the second year in a row in the top 25 in the country. I think it just speaks to the culture of our program and kind of the mindset of our team. We expect to be competing on a national level each and every year, regardless of who graduates or who's not here. And, that's something we expect every year. I think that, sometimes it can be taken for granted here, just because, it's kind of something we've done fairly consistently. But it never gets easier. And I'm just really proud of our guys for, the work they've put in this year, the improvement they've made since November, and, giving themselves an opportunity to be another year inside the top 25 in the country. I think it's a big deal for Appalachian State.
This week, the updated coaches' rankings and RPI will come out. The allocations for the conference will come out. Just how do you think that you've approached it with this team and the position they've put themselves in to be where you want to be in some of those rankings, and whether it's qualifying bids for the league or just some of those individual performances?
Well, I think, there's been times this year when probably our guys have even questioned, this schedule is just brutal, just because of the amount of competition we've had. And then just the level of the competition that we've wrestled this year, I think, is probably the most that we've had in modern history. Just looking at the dual meets we've had against top 10 opponents and top 25 opponents, but also wrestling in tournaments like Vegas and Southern Scuffle. Our guys are battle-tested. And, the ones that have good records, they've earned it because they've had to beat a lot of good guys to put a lot of wins on their record. And I think, the biggest thing that we tried to do in building the schedule is make sure that our guys get the opportunities to qualify their bid for the national tournament before we get to the conference tournament. And I do think that we've given our guys the opportunity. So if they haven't qualified a bid at this point, I really don't think it has nothing to blame, but maybe they just didn't get the job done in our schedule, because our schedule has given them a lot of opportunities to qualify bids in their weight class, and I feel pretty good about it. We had, I think, 8 guys in the RPI when it was released the last time, and got guys in the coaches' rankings. We have several guys that are at 70% winning percentage. So we've done everything, I think, from a program and a coaching staff standpoint to build a schedule that gives our guys an opportunity to qualify bid for the national tournament.
I think I've seen some projections that, there's a couple weights that maybe multiple bids will be kind of automatic from the league. And how would you just kind of assess the state of, where the SoCon is? I know in the past it's been an effort to get more of those automatic bids to where it's not just a champ for a weight class.
Well, I think this year, our conference is, especially the top 2 teams, I think we could wrestle with anybody in the country. Our top 2 teams in the conference, I think all of the conference has gotten better. If you look at the 3rd, 4th, 5th place teams, I think they've got some guys that can qualify bids. I expect when the bids are released that we could have a couple of bids that maybe qualify three guys at a weight, especially maybe at 25, 33. I expect those weight classes to qualify multiple bids, and then I think there's a couple of others. So, I'm hopeful that we'll get, 15, 16 pre-allocated spots for the Southern Conference, but we'll see when the bids are released this week. Just
hosting the SoCons in the home center again, I know they've done a lot to make that feel like a big-time event. Just as you prepare for that, what's it like to, I'm sure it's more work on your end too, but to have that event in Boone again?
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot of positives. I mean, our guys get to sleep in their own beds, and we have the comforts of being in Boone. But there are some stresses that come with it too. Moving mats earlier in the week, setting up for workout rooms. The distractions that it brings having it at home, because you've got a lot of families that come in a couple days before, and just having that added dynamic that maybe is not part of your routine on a week to week basis. There's good and bad, but I think the way that we host the event, and I think just the venue at the home center is second to none. I mean, it's hard to imagine a better venue for a conference championship than what we have at homes, with the video board and the lighting and the smokes and things like that before the finals. But also every team is accommodated. Every team has their own special team room, and we have plenty of locker room space and shower space, and it's just a great venue to have a championship. And fortunately, it's here in Boone.
You touched on this before, just last one of the tapering, just the kind of the training cycle of what this is to get to next Saturday. Can you just kind of elaborate more of just the approach you'll take with your team over the next 10 days or so?
Yeah, so we obviously at the end of the year, your practice schedule, you want to make sure that your guys are in shape, but you also don't want to overtrain them and have them going into a conference tournament or the national meet, tired. And so it's just a delicate balance of kind of finishing up your training cycles, make sure the guys are rested, recovered, make sure their bodies are feeling good, so they have all the background and the body of work they've done all year, but you also will kind of want them going into that tournament refreshed and energized and ready to compete hard. And I think our guys will be. I'm excited about kind of how our training's been, how our competition has been, and I think our guys are going to be hopefully wrestling their best come next weekend here in Boone.